The global order just shifted, and almost no one is talking about it. While the world was distracted by trade wars and tariffs, Malaysia and Japan just executed a coordinated three-front move that has completely reshaped the balance of power in Asia. First, let's talk about the military alliance that is truly changing the game in Southeast Asia. In a world where shifting alliances and rising tensions are the norm, the partnership between Japan and Malaysia stands out as a pivotal moment in the region's security landscape. This isn't just another diplomatic handshake or a routine agreement. This is a strategic move that signals a new era of cooperation, deterrence, and shared interests in one of the world's most contested regions. On April 13, 2026, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force and the Royal Malaysian Navy launched Exercise Malpan, a bilateral military exercise that would mark a turning point in their defense relationship. For the first time ever, the Royal Malaysian Air Force joined the drills, adding a new dimension to the partnership and demonstrating a level of integration and trust that had never been seen before between these two nations. The exercise was not just about showing off military hardware or conducting standard maneuvers. It was about building interoperability, sharing tactics, and sending a clear message to the region and the world. During Malpan, Japanese and Malaysian forces performed complex helicopter deck landing exercises. These operations require precise coordination between air and sea units, and they are critical for real-world scenarios such as search and rescue, rapid deployment of troops, and humanitarian assistance. The sight of Japanese helicopters touching down on Malaysian ships, and vice versa, was a powerful symbol of trust and operational synergy. It showed that these two militaries are not just training side by side, but are learning to operate as a single cohesive force. The exercise also featured advanced air defense drills over the South China Sea, a region fraught with territorial disputes and strategic competition. Fighter jets from both countries flew in tight formation, practicing intercepts, evasive maneuvers, and coordinated responses to simulated threats. These drills are more than just practice. They are a rehearsal for real-world contingencies, and they send a clear signal to any potential adversary that Japan and Malaysia are prepared to defend their interests together. The South China Sea is a flashpoint for regional tensions, and the presence of Japanese and Malaysian aircraft operating in unison is a statement of resolve. This is not routine training. What we are witnessing is a deliberate and calculated effort to build a credible deterrent in a region where the balance of power is constantly shifting. The officers overseeing these drills are acutely aware of the stakes involved. Every maneuver, every command, every decision is made with the understanding that the security of their nations and the stability of the broader region could depend on their readiness and cooperation. The joint operations conducted by Japan and Malaysia in the South China Sea are unprecedented. These waters are among the most hotly contested on the planet, with multiple countries laying claim to overlapping territories and resources. By patrolling together, Japanese and Malaysian warships are not only enhancing their own security, they are also contributing to the collective security of the region. Their presence is a deterrent to aggression and a reassurance to smaller nations that they are not alone in facing external pressures. This partnership is about more than just military might. It's about upholding the rules-based order and ensuring freedom of navigation in international waters. The groundwork for this alliance was laid weeks earlier, on February 26, when Japanese Ambassador Shikata met with Malaysia's defense minister. Their discussions went far beyond ceremonial pleasantries. They talked about strengthening bilateral security cooperation across a wide range of fields, including official security assistance, joint military exercises, and even collaboration in the defense industry. This meeting was a clear indication that both countries are committed to a long-term partnership, one that extends from the highest levels of government down to the operational units in the field. The agreement signed that day set the stage for deeper integration and mutual support, ensuring that the alliance would be more than just words on paper. On April 8, Japan took another significant step by handing over 9 million yen worth of military equipment to Malaysia, as part of a much larger assistance package totaling 3.1 billion yen. This transfer included advanced communications gear, surveillance equipment, and other critical assets designed to enhance Malaysia's operational capabilities. But the significance of this gesture goes beyond the material value of the equipment. It represents a tangible commitment to Malaysia's security and a recognition of the shared challenges both countries face. By providing this support, Japan is helping to build a more resilient and capable partner, one that can stand shoulder to shoulder with Japanese forces in times of crisis. This alliance is not just about responding to immediate threats, it's about building a foundation for lasting peace and stability in the region. As Japan and Malaysia continue to deepen their cooperation, the message to the world is clear. Together, they are ready to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing security environment. Second, the financial bomb they just dropped. Bank Negara Malaysia and the Bank of Japan signed the second bilateral swap arrangement, allowing both nations to swap their local currencies for US dollars, providing up to $3 billion. This is a direct challenge to dollar dominance, giving both countries a financial lifeline that bypasses Western-controlled systems. Third, let's talk about the semiconductor pivot, a seismic shift in the global tech landscape that's quietly undermining decades of US dominance. While the world's attention is often fixed on the flashy end products, smartphones, laptops, electric vehicles, the real power lies in the invisible backbone, the semiconductor supply chain. And right now, Japan is quietly but decisively taking control of the most critical choke points in this chain, fundamentally altering the balance of power in the global technology race. Consider this. Japan now controls over 53% of the world's silicon wafer production. These ultra-pure, razor-thin discs are the essential starting material for every single microchip on the planet. Without them, the entire electronics industry would grind to a halt. Japan's dominance here isn't just about quantity, it's about quality, consistency, and the ability to scale up production to meet the world's insatiable demand for chips. But it doesn't stop there. Japan also produces 70% of the world's high-end photoresists, specialized chemicals that are absolutely vital for the photolithography process, which is how chip patterns are etched onto wafers. These photoresists are so advanced and so difficult to manufacture that only a handful of companies globally can even attempt it, and Japanese firms like JSR, Tokyo Okakogyo, and Shin Etsu are the undisputed leaders. Without access to these chemicals, even the most sophisticated chip factories would be rendered useless. Then there's EUV lithography, the crown jewel of chip-making technology. Japan supplies 90% of the materials and components needed for extreme ultraviolet EUV lithography, the process that enables the creation of the world's smallest, fastest, and most powerful chips. This technology is so advanced that only a few countries can even dream of mastering it, and Japan's grip on the supply chain gives it enormous leverage over the entire industry. And let's not forget ABF substrates, the unsung heroes of modern chip packaging. Japan produces a staggering 95% of the world's ABF material, which is used by giants like Intel, Nvidia, and AMD to connect their most advanced chips to the outside world. Without these substrates, even the most powerful processors would be little more than expensive paperweights. Recognizing the strategic importance of these choke points, Malaysia is now positioning itself as Japan's partner of choice in Southeast Asia. This isn't just a business arrangement, it's a calculated geopolitical move. By aligning with Japan, Malaysia is plugging itself directly into the heart of the global semiconductor ecosystem, gaining access to cutting-edge technology, investment, and know-how. The chairman of the Malaysian Semiconductor Industry Association put it plainly, Japan and Malaysia have a unique opportunity to work together, combining Japan's technological prowess with Malaysia's strategic location and skilled workforce. This partnership isn't just about making chips, it's about building a resilient, future-proof supply chain that can withstand global shocks and political turbulence. Here's what makes Malaysia such an attractive partner. It's a neutral country, maintaining friendly relations with all major powers. In a world increasingly divided by trade wars and tech bans, Malaysia's neutrality is a priceless asset. It allows Japanese companies and their global customers to bypass many of the geopolitical restrictions that have hamstrung the industry in recent years. This neutrality makes Malaysia the perfect hub for global semiconductor trade. Companies can invest, collaborate, and innovate without constantly worrying about getting caught in the crossfire of US-China tensions or sudden export bans. It's a safe harbor in a stormy geopolitical sea, and both Japan and Malaysia are moving quickly to capitalize on this unique position. Japan's plans for Malaysia go far beyond just chip manufacturing. The Japanese government and leading tech firms are pouring billions into digital infrastructure, including next-generation data centers, AI research hubs, and advanced chip fabrication plants. These investments are designed to create a seamless, end-to-end supply chain that stretches from raw materials to finished products, all anchored in Malaysia. The crown jewel of this partnership is already taking shape, a semiconductor-grade polysilicon plant in Sarawak, Malaysia, the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. This joint venture with Japan's Tokuyama Corporation will supply the ultra-pure silicon needed for the next generation of chips, further cementing Malaysia's role as a critical node in the global supply chain. As the US struggles to regain its footing in the semiconductor race, Salmaber Smyce, Fuistakmatan Jimes, Sambaban, Adzbens, Saman Smayan, Ten Spaman Daupers Person Light, Shamabarin Staib, Sambaladan Ix Mumber Talin Wamas Den Smart Bakes Tran, and Spralliance is quietly redrawing the map of global tech power, one wafer, one chip, and one strategic partnership at a time. Why does this change everything? To understand the magnitude of this shift, we need to look at the bigger picture. For decades, the balance of power in Asia has been shaped by the influence of the United States, which has acted as a security guarantor and economic partner for many countries in the region. But now, something fundamental is changing. The partnership between Malaysia and Japan is not just another diplomatic handshake or a routine trade agreement. It signals a new era, one where regional players are taking matters into their own hands, forging alliances that could reshape the entire geopolitical landscape of Asia. The United States has been desperately trying to build a coalition to contain China, the so-called Quad, with Japan, India, and Australia. This alliance was meant to serve as a bulwark against Beijing's growing influence, both militarily and economically. Washington has poured diplomatic energy and resources into keeping these countries aligned, hoping to present a united front. But the reality is more complicated. Each member of the Quad has its own interests, its own priorities, and its own vision for the future of Asia. And as the world becomes more multipolar, these differences are becoming harder to ignore. But Japan just sent a clear message. Tokyo is building alternative alliances that do not require Washington's approval. By deepening ties with Malaysia, Japan is signaling its willingness to act independently, to pursue its own strategic interests in Southeast Asia. This is a bold move, one that reflects Japan's growing confidence on the world stage. It also shows that Tokyo is no longer content to simply follow Washington's lead. Instead, Japan is carving out its own path, one that could inspire other countries in the region to do the same. Japan and Australia are both growing increasingly concerned about the Trump administration's unpredictable behavior. The past few years have seen sudden policy shifts, trade disputes, and mixed signals from Washington. This uncertainty has forced America's closest allies to rethink their security strategies. They are asking themselves, what if the US is no longer a reliable partner? What if America's commitments can no longer be taken for granted? These questions are driving countries like Japan and Australia to seek new partnerships and to prepare for a future where they may have to stand on their own. Japanese defense officials have stated openly that they are preparing for a scenario where the US cannot be relied upon. This is a dramatic shift from the post-war era, when Japan's security was almost entirely dependent on the American military umbrella. Now Tokyo is investing in its own defense capabilities, strengthening regional partnerships, and planning for contingencies that would have been unthinkable just a decade ago. The bottom line, Japan is getting ready for a world where it must take the lead in protecting its own interests, and those of its partners. Malaysia just became Japan's backdoor to Southeast Asia, militarily, financially, and technologically. This partnership is about more than just defense. It's about building a new economic and technological corridor that bypasses traditional power centers. Japanese companies are investing in Malaysia's high-tech industries, training local talent, and creating new supply chains that connect the two countries. At the same time, joint military exercises and intelligence sharing are strengthening security ties. For Malaysia, this means access to advanced technology and new markets. For Japan, it means a strategic foothold in one of the world's most dynamic regions. And, well, Washington is furious because there is absolutely nothing they can do to stop it. The US is watching as its influence in Asia is challenged, not by rivals, but by its own allies, making independent choices. This is a wake-up call for American policymakers. The world is changing, and the old rules no longer apply. As Japan and Malaysia chart a new course, the rest of Asia, and, indeed, the world, will be watching closely. The question now is not just what happens next, but who will shape the future of the region. One thing is clear. The era of unquestioned American dominance in Asia is coming to an end, and a new chapter is just beginning. Share this video with your family, friends, and everyone you know. Make sure you share it on all WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, and Telegram groups you are in to keep everyone informed. While you are hitting that share button, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the red button. Hit the home.